Hey everyone, welcome to a new video. Welcome to Floating in Dreams. Today we are going to be talking about my top 5, bottom 5 products by none other than Colourpop. So let's get started. Welcome if you're new here, welcome if you're a returning visitor. Thank you so very much for clicking on this video today. I greatly appreciate you taking the time out of the day to watch another one of my videos. Today we're talking Colourpop, top 5, bottom 5. I love trying out makeup products. You guys know that about me if you've been here for a while. Mainly eyeshadow palettes. Essence and Catrice is my bread and butter, but I really like to also try out some other brands. And in the past couple of years, I will leave a link to the playlist down below, I did a video every single month where I dedicated a full face of makeup to a particular brand. And I went over loads of different brands, 24 in total, I believe, because that's how many videos I did, because I did it for at least 2 years. And one thing that series taught me is that when I try out a full face of a certain brand, I also end up with a lot of products that I don't particularly like, which is why I sort of stopped doing it right now, because I just felt it really created a lot of overflow in my makeup collection that doesn't really necessarily serve a purpose once I had filmed that video. So I thought that this year we could still talk about brands and some of the products that I like by those brands and things that I perhaps didn't like so much, but that we could do a top 5, bottom 5 style. So there are probably more products in the range than what I'm showing you here, but if I had to pick my top favorite Colourpop products and some of the things that I'm like, if you were interested in these, then you better stay away. Then that's sort of what I'm doing here, and I hope I will be able to keep doing this kind of video with a different brand every single month. That's the plan. So let's get to the products that I have selected for you. I do have multiple products in different categories, because who else would we be here? So let's get to these products, and I'm gonna do bottom 5 first. So you'll see that in my Colourpop favorites and not so favorites list, I definitely veer towards certain categories of products within those like favorites and not so favorites. And something that I have found that I just don't love Colourpop for in everything they do is cheeks and lips. That's definitely really not where I feel they stand out the most. So let's start with a bottom 5 here. This is their Cheek Dew Serum Blush. I got these two as part of the Cherry Crush collection, and I really didn't like these. I think that this was a product that was on a lot of people's worst of 2021 list. These just didn't really blend very well. They were very patchy on me. I liked the colors well enough, but the amount of effort I had to put into making these products look good just wasn't really what I look for in a product like this. I have definitely tried other liquid blushes that I like far better than these. I'm not really sure how to feel about this product, because it is very pretty. It is the Pretty Fresh hydrating illuminator. So this is their Pretty Fresh primer, but then infused with a lot of, well, not really glitter, but it's like sparkly goodness. This is a liquid highlighter, and I did a video where I compared this to the Glossier Future Dew and the Charlotte Tilbury Flawless Filter. I'll link that video down below. And this ended up being my least favorite pick of the 3, because this is just, even though it's not glittery, it's still very disco ball. Like, it's the kind of glow I don't want necessarily, which is why I decided to put this in the bottom 5, because it's a product that I still have on hand that I wasn't really a fan of. 9 out of 10 times, if I dislike a product, it gets decluttered. So this is definitely one that is on the chopping block for my upcoming decluttering series. So next up is lips. And for lips, I'm holding up 3 very particular products that I've tried in the last couple of weeks or months. But Colourpop, it's not that Colourpop cannot do good lip products. I just feel that their lip products are very hit or miss. Like, their formulas are just not very consistent, and you'll find that with one of the favorites actually that I'll be holding up. And I know that some people really like the Fresh Kiss line. They do a lot of different products in this line. I think they have been doing products called Fresh Kiss something for like a year now, and I'm holding up 3 different ones, and I ended up not loving any of these. I bought one of the lip creams, and I like the shade, and I quite like the formula, but it disappears on me very quickly. And this is what I mean with Colourpop sometimes being inconsistent with their like quality control. This came without a stopper. So faulty packaging, which means that you over apply this super easily. And like I said, this doesn't have the staying power that I would want from this kind of product. Then the first one of these that I actually tried was their Fresh Kiss Glossy Lip Stain. Again, it came in that Cherry Crush collection, and this just wasn't very successful for me. It did have a nice texture going on at first, but in terms of wear time, it just disappeared on my lips within like an hour, and it just didn't work as well. Like, I have glosses and liquid lipsticks that fare much better than this. And I feel the same way about the lip lacquers that I bought a couple from as well, just to try a few of the shades. This shade in particular, it's called Café de Paris, which I thought could be a really nice vampy lip color. Unfortunately, it's incredibly patchy on, like I can't get this to look even. And what these also do is that they kind of, like, there's just a little bit too much product on the doe foot that once you get to the edge of your lip line, the lip products has a tendency to bunch up. And the only way to sort of get rid of that bunched up product is if you push it outside of your lip line. And I'm not a fan of overdrawn lips, so none of these were very successful for me. I would say that there are some Colourpop lip products that I have tried in the past that I like much better, but in the end, they are just not very long lasting and they are not staples in my makeup collection, which is why these get to go into the bottom 5. And I feel very similarly about their powder blushes. I quite enjoy their cream blushes, like their Supershock blushes, as you will see in a minute. Those I like, but these, I don't know why. They just feel very dry and chalky. A lot of the shade descriptions on the website don't make a lot of sense. That's actually a gripe I have with a lot of Colourpop products. They will say that something is a mauve and then you get it home and it's a pink. And you're like, no. So we have two here that if I open them up, I actually switched around the pans, because one thing that Colourpop does do that's really nice is that the packaging is always magnetic. So the blush that's now in here isn't just my pluck, but it's Vogue, which used to come in this compact. So this was from the Dark Blooms collection, and this was from their Orchid collection. And I just like this shade a lot better. It's this really nice cool tone mauve shade that looked really pretty on. This is a lot warmer and it's very similar to other mauves I already have in my collection. So this isn't very unique, and I didn't like this plastic packaging as much, which is why I swapped around the pans so I can keep the one powder blush from Colourpop in the packaging I like and still get the use out of that. But this is probably going to be on the chopping block. And finally, a product that isn't necessarily one that I dislike. However, I ended up decluttering every shade I bought of the Colourpop Supershock highlighters. So I like their Supershock shadows, as you will see in a minute, but their Supershock highlighters, for some reason, they just don't, I don't know, they're a bit too much of a faff to use, if that makes sense. So this is the Hades highlighter in Everybody's Got a Weakness from their Disney Villains collection. And it's a stunning shade. It's just a little bit too dark for me, I have found. So while this is a really nice product, I don't love the Supershock formula because it is best applied with a sponge. And it's just, I don't know, it's a bit of a faff. And very often what I have found is that the shades that a lot of people rave about are shades like, you know, Flexitarian is one that I used to own. But there are other highlighters on the market that are very similar in a powder formula that takes seconds to apply, and you don't have to go through the faff of using the Supershock. So for me, the packaging, the formula, the application just isn't worth it in the end. And I used to own Hippo, but that was very similar to Becca Prismatic Amethyst. Like I said, Flexitarian is very similar to a Catrice highlighter that I have. They're More Than Glow Ultimate Platinum Gaze. This is a peachy toned highlighter, but I have my Nabla Privilege highlighter in their skin glazing formula, which is a big gelée cream to powder. Much easier to apply with a brush than this peachy toned. So I bought another one, so like 4 times as a charm kind of thing, because I'm not a huge fan. Like, I'm not over the moon in love with these products. So that's why, while they're okay, I'm just like, I don't know, I keep trying them in the hopes that they'll become my new favorite, and then they're just not. Like, the only reason why this has survived a declutter is because of the packaging. That's not a good reason to keep a product. So let's move on to my top 5 products, because Colourpop can be hard to buy from, so I'm pretty sure what you really want to know is, if I place myself an order on the Colourpop website, what should I at least look into? And I would say the Pretty Fresh Tinted Moisturizer. I have mine in the shade 4N, and it started to look a little weird, so I'm not sure what's happened to this. It seems to have separated a bit. It's only in the back though, so that's a bit strange. So I did get myself a backup of this, because I was like, if I'm out of this, like, this is the only tinted moisturizer in my entire makeup collection that I truly, truly enjoy. I've also tried their No Filter foundation and their Pretty Fresh, and those weren't my favorites. However, this one is exactly what I want. If you like that lightweight base, this is a great pick, and it comes in a heap of shades. I already mentioned not really being a fan of their powder blushes, but their Supershock blushes have been one of my greatest finds of 2021. I had heard a lot of people talking about their Supershock blushes for a while, and these I like a lot better because I feel that these apply really well with fingers. And then, you know, if you just lightly tap it in with your sponge, it's fine. Like, these are much easier to control, I find, than the Supershock highlighters are. But that's just me. I am holding up Cheerio, which is a shade from their Wine collection that was released at the end of 2020. This is my favorite shade that they do. It is a bit intense for my complexion, but I feel that this sheers out really well, and if I don't overdo it, I can definitely make this shade work. I do have to say though, that of the ones I've tried, I've only tried really this Wine and Only collection, so I actually got a couple of other shades to see if I like those, but I tend to prefer their shimmer formulas over their mattes. The mattes can feel a little bit dry and putty-like, and are, I'm not sure, a little less easy to blend. Like, this I feel just glides on and it swipes on and it's fine. But I think I am going to be keeping the matte one from this collection because I like the shade of it so much. So shade-wise and formula-wise, I feel that Colourpop has more unique things to offer in their blushes. The Supershock blushes I do really like. Shall we stick to Supershocks for a minute, because we all know I love my Supershock shadows. I'm holding up my 3 favorites, which are all still available. So the ones that I love a lot are Frog. This is what Frog looks like, which is a great topper shade. I love topping this over like a brown or a taupey sort of matte, and then putting this over it. It's really stunning. One that I love to wear by itself is Ritz, and yes, that's pan. That's how much I've used it. This is just a one and done shadow kind of thing. Like, you just slap this on and you're good to go. And then the other one that I love that they've just brought back, so I got myself a backup, is So Quiche. And this is like a taupey duochrome kind of situation. I love combining this with Ritz. So very often if I travel, I will just bring these two and I can do loads of different looks, because Ritz can be topped over So Quiche. I can use both of them as one and done eyeshadows. This for a natural look, this for a more smoky look. But I also like combining them into a look with this on the top lash and then this on the lower lash line. So that's already 3 looks with just 2 eyeshadows. And I really like using these shadows that way. Use them with fingers. You don't even really need a brush. Nothing too complicated here. And these are really lovely. So I'm really happy that they brought So Quiche back. And is that something people would be interested in me doing? Like, would you like me to swatch out all of my Colourpop Supershocks? Because I now have quite a few. Let me know in a comment down below if that's something you would like me to do at some point in time. In the lip category, I just mentioned that I don't love a lot of the things that Colourpop has going on, but Colourpop, I do have to give them credit for the fact that the reason why I fell in love with lip gloss is this little guy. This is their Luxe Gloss in Figgy with it, which was part of their Making Mauves collection, so I don't think they still do this shade. And this has really taught me that Colourpop can be super inconsistent. Because I love this so much, I went out and bought other Luxe lip glosses and also a couple of their lip oils. And in the end, I really only found like 2 or 3 shades that I thought were worth it. Like, most of them were very sticky and just not that comfortable on the lips. So I understand why a lot of people didn't like these, but this got me into lip gloss, so it had to go into the top 5 for sure. But what does Colourpop truly excel at? If you were to ask me, eyeshadow. They do some lovely eyeshadows. I don't always agree with their color stories though, which is again why it's a good thing that a lot of their shadows are actually magnetic and that you can take it out and that you can swap them around to whatever floats your boat. That's definitely what I did. I reorganized a lot of my Colourpop palettes, but there are a few that I thought were so great that I didn't reorganize them. I could have added one more. I could have added Going Coconuts. The ones I'm holding up here are the High Tide, which is their teal moment, which I like, but I will be taking these shades out and combine them with the teals from the Dream Street, because to me, it does lean a little aqua blue and not as teal as it could have been. So I'm going to be adding the tealy blues to this and probably pop these shades into the Dream Street packaging and get rid of all those warm tones. And then make that a full teal palette and put some other shades in here because I do really like the packaging. And also the Colourpop like cardboard packaging is much better than their plastic packaging. So this is their Wine and Only. So this is the collection that those blushes came with. And this is such a great grungy burgundy red leaning color story. I really like this. It's just a really fun one to try. This is one I haven't messed with and I don't intend to. And I love combining that with their Baroque palette. Again, is this still available? This is a cool tone palette with lots of like grungy, bluey gray tones. It's not quite a neutral. It has some duochromes, and I like pairing this with the Wine and Only because then you get the same vibes that you get from the Melt Myrte, which also has the blues and the reds. And then my favorite neutral palette by them is the That's Taupe. Like I said, I could have put in the Going Coconuts if I'd wanted to, but if I had to pick between the two, this would be my favorite. This has more shimmers and it's more cool toned, which is my preference. And I also feel that the mattes in here are a little bit more purposeful than in the Going Coconuts. So in terms of neutrals, this would be my pick. So that's it, there you have it. That's my entire top 5, bottom 5 when it comes to Colourpop. As I already mentioned, I want to do this video every single month going forward. I definitely want to do Essence, I definitely want to do Catrice, and I want to go over some of the other brands that I've talked about in my full face of makeup series that I've done previously. So let me know in a comment down below if you have any brands you would like me to mention. That would be lovely. For now, thumbs up the video if you liked it. Thank you very much for watching. I hope to see you in my next video. I make 3 videos a week, so if you could subscribe to the channel, that would greatly help me out. And then I would like to thank you very much for being here. Have a great day, everybody. Make the best of it. Take care, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye-bye.